That is the judges' tower here at Cloudbreak, and they are watching one of the best days ever for CT competition. And we're going to see now who will prevail in Heat 4 of Round 5 and take on Matt Wilkinson in quarterfinal number 4. John Florence up against Jadson Andre.
To get out of that slump he's been in.
Well, Jadson's going to get things started here. And he's looking to set up this insider. Not a super deep barrel, but he found his way through that first section. It got away from him as the wave peeled off down the line though. A couple of long sections stretching out in front.
A big set right behind that wave. I thought maybe John would be on the second wave, but it may have broken a little too far out. It actually looks like, yeah, that's what I was suspecting. John was pulled into that barrel behind Jaddy. Was a little too deep.
Well, John taking off over the whitewater here.
Ouch.
Really hard to do, but he did eye this section down the line. That wave was pretty nice, despite the fact it had a bit of foam on the face. And John seems to have a pretty good read on those tricky insiders.
Yeah, he does. He knew, I mean, he was on it. That wave was perfect, but extremely difficult takeoff. When you're taking off in the whitewash like that, you can't get your fins to grab, and you just kind of slide free. You side slip sideways. You don't get any traction.
Really turbulent, that little run into waves of that size too. Plenty of water.
Yeah, it's a horrible way to wipe out because typically you don't get a big breath of air and you kind of slide down the face with all the whitewash and you get ragdolled and held under longer than normal.
And he looks a little slow just to get back out to the lineup, so maybe just taking in some deep breaths and resetting after getting ragdolled across the inside there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a good chance that he's choking on a good amount of water there. It's very easy to just suck down a bucket of water when you're sliding in a whitewash like that.
We would maybe get through the quarterfinals, and we don't want to finish today when we've got the potential for tomorrow to be that good. You know, the period kind of kicks up a notch. Might be a little bit more swell as well, but longer period for Cloudbreak is you know what you want out there, and could be some incredible waves.
Well, let's hold thumbs that does show, because right now it is incredible. Tomorrow's going to be even better. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rosie. So this will be the last heat of the day. What are your thoughts on the decision, Ross?
I love it. You know, we can't finish the event today, so there's no need to rush and be hasty and finish just 4 more heats with the quarters. You might as well finish off in the big stuff tomorrow. There is a minor risk. Who knows? You know, maybe maybe an onshore breeze could come up earlier tomorrow. That's about the only risk I can see. Other than that, it's looking perfect for tomorrow. Off kilt a little bit, you know. They want to get the ball rolling.
Well, Jadson, without priority, is going to try and get the best score on the board so far. He's been doing a good job on these smaller insiders throughout the event, but he can't find an opening on that one. Sorry, Ross, that was a pretty nice looking little ride there.
Yeah, sorry, Ronnie. That was a crazy bullet dodged for John because that was a smoking wave, and Jadson was just behind it.
Here goes Florence now, using his priority. Gets a decent barrel and really is just pulling on the wall of this wave to maximise his time in this tube. Wears a bit of the lip in the head on the exit, but not a drama for the 23-year-old as he makes his way through to the inside now. He's going to kick out of there. So just under 25 minutes to go. We've just seen the best wave of this heat. John Florence is going to move into the lead. After getting a victory over there in Brazil, he made a huge jump up the leaderboard. 10 spots. He's already in the second position, and he is closing the gap on Matt Wilkinson, who we might have to face in the quarterfinals if he can get past Jadson Andre here.
Wow. Okay, so finally, you know, a start here for one of the guys. Looking into the barrel, you know, the wave's not going to look as big, but you're going to see how long and how technical this barrel is. And he kind of stayed put. Didn't do anything too fancy. He kept grabbing at rail to make sure his board stayed really close to the pocket of the barrel. He didn't have a lot of room, but this is where I want to see how deep did he get. Behind a curtain. There he stalled. You see him grab that that put that front knee in the wall. You can see, you can really appreciate the size of the wave too from the front. So you know, a decent wave. It wasn't a small one, a medium-sized wave. Should be a pretty good start for John. It's not going to be a massive score, but it's one on the board.
One of the first things you notice about John Florence when you meet him in person is just how big a guy is. Broad-shouldered, 6 foot tall, a pretty solid unit. But when he's surfing backside and he gets in those tighter barrels, he almost gets like a parallel stance happening. He brings his knees in over the board and he can adjust. He also, on a bigger wave, can fill the tube pretty well, dragging his body on the face of the wave, but it's just amazing how compact he can get backhand and through those tight situations.
It's a good point. You know, he's a tall, lanky dude, but he can put himself in in really small barrels because he has perfect technique. So he knows how to get his body out of the way if that's the case, and then if he needs his body to help him slow down, he does that as well.
And they almost drive straight towards the judges' tower instead of pointing down the line towards the shoulder, which is typically what most of us are inclined to do at this location. But they know they have to fade. They know they have to get rid of that speed to set up the tube, because once you're gunning down the line on this ride, Ross, he seems less inclined to go for the show reel wave and more inclined to back his numbers up and surf a little smarter. Here we go, Jadson chasing a 7.57 on this one to get into the lead. And the ride is just a little sleepy. Jadson knows it. The body language suggesting that it's not going to be a huge score. He wants to ski, he wants to get back to the takeoff zone. Former championship tour competitor, Glendon Ringrose, manning the ski. He'll get Jadson back out there as fast as possible.
Yeah, Glendon still rips too. He's been getting his fair share of barrels out here as well. And all these water patrol out here are next level. They're the best in the world. Again, tough technical job to pick up these surfers and get them out of harm's way in that shallow reef. They make it look easy.
Well, wave selection was going to be the key for Jadson Andre. How's he going so far?
Yeah, pretty average. I mean, the scores don't lie. He just got some 2s and 1s, and he's in danger because John really hasn't even gotten anywhere near peaking yet in this heat.
Just a casual approach from John to set himself up for this first section, and he'll come out of this section spat out of the tube but stalling for more. The wave starts to clamp up. He gets out in front of it and he's going to kick out. But the judges love it when you exit like that, Ross, just with the wave unloading all its energy. And he has swung wide on this one. This wave's bowling out. This is one of the thicker waves that we've seen all day. John's somewhere in there. Can he find his way out? No, he can't. Thought for all the money in the world he was on his way to a huge number there. Lucky for John, he doesn't get pushed too far inside. And he's now on the back of the ski.
I'm gonna paddle. Never mind. I'm gonna take it right back out. Exactly what he just said. That was heavy. And, you know, that wave had a lot of consequence right there, Ronnie. That was at the shish kebab section where it's easily the shallowest part of the wave. Lucky for John, despite falling in that wave, he didn't connect with the reef.
It's not high tide out there at the moment.
It's so easy to lose a lot of skin out there, and that's always going to be the danger if you pull in too deep. This is the first wave though. Absolute money. That is a dream wave. Look at all that spit. Again, that's an indication of a heavy wave on the ledge. Nice double up. So that's going to be an easy score for the judges. In my eyes, it's better than an 8.5. And then he swung right into this wide bowl at shish kebabs. No hand.
Oh.
Just a little too deep. But how is that pump right there, Ronnie? Those a couple of different pumps trying to get speed to get out to the shoulder. Love to see a straight on angle of the second wave as well, just to see how far he got in that barrel. But again, out of the 2 waves, he's definitely got 1 keeper score, so now he's got a couple of scores. Jaddy's going to be comboed.
Well, that was one of my favourite water shots, maybe ever, from a CT event. Just showing John's speed drive through the barrel. Sam Smith, our cameraman, on fire out there at the moment. We'll try and get you another look at that replay. But John has taken some beatings in this heat. I think he'd be aware of the fact that he doesn't have to surf again, so he's really throwing everything at it to ensure he gets that place in the quarterfinals and an opportunity to stall the momentum of the current Jeep leader.
Well, one thing that bodes well for John Ronnie is that he has been doing some cross training, so he's definitely fit, but he surfs more than anyone I know. I mean, the kid is surfing all day long, so if he's one of those guys that is going to have 3 or 4 heats in a day or get pounded 4 or 5 waves in a row, he can handle it because he's got such a high level of, just surfing all day long.
It's a pretty unique situation when you know that there's a new surfer in the number 2 position, but he's on the same side of the draw as the number 1. Often, the number 1 and 2 surfer are on opposite sides of the draw, as we see the replay from the tower angle of John's effort on the inside, that last ride. He was really deep.
Wow. That was sick. You know, he wasn't that far from making that barrel. That's a scary thing. Just another 6 or 8 feet ahead of that whitewash ball. You can see he had 0 chance of making it out of that barrel. Once the floor of the barrel opens up, you're toast. You know, you need to be just a little ahead of that whitewash ball to keep progressing forward.
Well, back to live action now, and Jadson, he keeps taking off on these insiders. Not a lot of size in this wave, but it is hollow, and he's going to get an exit. He needs another deep barrel if he's going to track down an excellent score and get himself out of trouble here. He needs a 2-wave total of 17.01, but he just keeps on taking these medium-sized rides when he needs to get some of the biggest waves of this heat to overcome one of the best tube riders in the world.
Yeah, he's gonna, well, you know, what's encouraging for Jaddy is he's got 14 minutes. You know, you never know. John almost had a 8.5 and a 10. If he had he make it out of that wide one just now, just gives you a reference to you don't need a whole lot of time to turn the heat around.
It's kind of going the same way as their final battle in France. John established a really big lead, and Jadson, he just seemed gassed when he got to the final. Jadson's been so onto it with his wave selection, but in some of his other heats, his busyness has paid off, but on this occasion, it's actually hurting him.
Scratches all up and down your back and your legs and your hip. So, okay, I want you to pay attention to the floor of the barrel. So look underneath his board as he pulls in right here. Wait for just another second or 2 and then freeze it for me. Right about, go a little bit further for me. Just a couple more seconds. Let's freeze it now. Okay, so take a look in front of John now. He's actually gonna grab his rail. You can see that lip line, it's got so much power, it's splitting the water in half. So the floor of the barrel, that's where the surfers need to keep obviously surfing. You can't surf anywhere if the floor gets split in half. So the wave is so thick and so strong that if you're too far deep underneath your board, there's nowhere to go. The floor just kind of opens up like a trapdoor, and you'll just go straight to the bottom. So that's where the danger is running. When that trapdoor opens, you fall normally straight to the reef, especially at shish kebabs. That's how you see guys like Kai Otten and a lot of guys get scratches all over their hips because they're going from that right there straight to the reef.
Still trying to get as much speed as possible as the wave's barreling over him.
Well, that's the key word you use, is driving, and that's why he stood tall.
Here we go. John Florence utilising his priority here. Brief cover up. That wave spits, and he starts to move down the line now, but just avoids getting completely chopped in half by that falling lip. Still caught the tail of his board though and knocked him off.
Yeah, it looked awkward to me. That was a weird wipeout, but wow, he got right back up quickly. Yeah, it's true. You know, and again, that's why I like it, as he just says he's the regulator. He keeps everyone in check.
Well, this is Jadson trying to turn things around. Wave selection was always going to be the key. And unfortunately for Jadson, he's just been out of rhythm with the solid set waves. He's still getting himself incredibly barreled. Have a look at this thing. Can he punch through the curtain? He does. Well, talk about turning a pretty average looking wave into a decent score. Andre throwing a big air reverse on the inside, doesn't quite ride out of it.
Okay. You know, to be honest, I don't think he was even expecting that. He looked like he was giving up and waving a white flag on that wave, and he, all of a sudden he found himself coming out of a 4 or 5 second barrel.
The body language as he just coasted into that tube suggested that he was over that wave, but it did special things when it hit the inside.
So as he took off, the wave looked nice. It's kind of meaty, and then it just didn't give anything for Jaddy, and you could see the body language. This is where he's kind of just said, man, this is just not my heat. Then he sees a little something here. He's like, well, I might as well just pull in. And it was an amazing barrel because that thing was so the opposite of user-friendly. It had some chandeliers, some friffle. It wasn't wide open. So this might break the combo here. He's going to have a shot here in the last couple minutes.
Friffle. He
might not be in a dictionary.
He got himself a 6-point ride, so not enough sadly to break the combination for Jadson. But what a tube riding effort. So deep.
A little surprising. I thought that was a pretty rad tube ride there. I thought it might go a little higher, but again, the judges are very anal with quality. They want you to be on a perfect wave.
And we have seen some big throaty pits throughout this event, so I was kind of clamping mid-face tubes.
I'm guessing. So yeah, he looks like on track to make a full recovery, and he'll be back at it next year. So you never know, he might have to put the old coaching thing on ice for a while.
25 seconds to go. John Florence established a solid lead pretty early on here in round 5 with a couple of 8.5s. Jadson Andre, he fought back on his last ride but just fell short of breaking the combination. And he's going to run out of time here. He might just get a little consolation prize on the inside. John's happy to let him take off here. And let's see what Jaddy can do. Just styles his way out of that one as the hooter sounds. We've got a big post show coming up, Ross. You're going to join Joe and Potts and break down some of the best rides we've seen in ages, including a couple of Big Tens.
Well, best day ever to break down the action. What a day. Crazy highlight reel here we're going to have. You could make a surf movie out of today's highlights.
Well, John Florence will be taking on the current Jeep ratings leader, Matt Wilkinson, in a battle between first and second on the leaderboard in quarterfinal number 4. But it is a very experienced field that's left to fight for the title here at stop number 5.